Memphis Grizzlies cut Kennedy Chandler. Should he have stayed another year? I said at the time, because of his height, I said just a couple weeks ago, he would have been great for the NIL to keep around. That didn't happen. He's now cut by the Grizzlies. You'd think if he could have his druthers, he could have his do-over, he would have stayed at Tennessee another year.
I think possibly. It depends on where he lands being waived. He wasn't waived because he's not a good player, and there's a lot of signs that another NBA team's going to pick him up. He was waived because the Grizzlies need to make room for a big man because Steven Adams is hurt as he gets set for the playoffs.
True. What does that mean for Kennedy Chandler? Kennedy Chandler would be making $700,000-$800,000, I believe. Let's say $600,000-$700,000 in NIL right now. If Tennessee was committed to that and the collectives were committed to that, there would be no question in my mind that he would be making that type of money. Instead, he's making about 4.7 over 4 years because he managed to get in the first round, but just barely. This is not a guy who went high first round who NBA execs thinks going to be a superstar. Listen, it's already started. You gave me the reason, and those are good reasons why they have to cut him. But once you start getting cut in the NBA, don't you just bounce around and it seems like your career's much of nothing? Ask Christian Laettner. I mean, Kennedy Chandler with one more year under his belt might not be a better NBA prospect, but he would have enjoyed that year a lot more. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, so the trick with this is people – I mean, you talk about Christian Laettner bouncing around, but he had a 14-year career, 13-year career in the NBA. And the thing that people have to realize is that with the NBA, more so than the NFL, more so than the MLB, more so than any sport you can name, being a journeyman in the NBA pays so much better than any other sport. NBA players get paid way, way better than any other professional sports league in the world.
I agree, but psychologically, wouldn't you want to be, as far as a career goal, wouldn't you want to be at one team and be known for that one team?
I think people Kennedy Chandler was never going to be good enough to be like known with one team. He was always going to be a career role player. He was never going to be a star in the NBA or anything like that. He was always going to be a Ron Harper or somebody like that. And that was his ceiling.
Yeah, but Ron Harper fell at that one team that wanted to make him a priority, eventually the Bulls. He was pretty talented before he got hurt, but he fell with that one team, and we now associate him with the Bulls. I get the feeling that after 12 years from now, Caleb, when we're sitting here and we're having this conversation, we don't really have a team that Kennedy Chandler most associates with. Whereas had he come back to Tennessee, showcase some more skill, done some more things, you could see someone putting a premium on him and saying, I want to keep this guy around and letting him grow. I just don't think when you go to the Grizzlies in the first round at a pick that makes sense because it's a UT guy, that's not going to be your final destination. I could have told you that 10 months ago.
Well, yeah, but again, if we're 12 years from now and you're Kennedy Chandler, if he's 12 years from now, that means he made at least $60 million. And so in his mind, he's like, I got $60 million. If I'd gone back to Tennessee, I could have blown my knee out and not made any money, or just gotten that $700,000 and that's it.
Well, I didn't mean still playing in 12 years. I mean, if we just bumped into him on the street. Go ahead.
Sorry, I would concede that he would have improved his draft stock had he stayed another year because he would have upped his free throw shooting, and that would have made him a much more desirable NBA player for a lot of teams, because a lot of smarter teams now are starting to do what I said you should do for years, and this is why European players are getting more successful. Production at the level you were at matters more than potential, unless you're one of those top 5 picks.